Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Pearlstein, and this is Second Opinion. Today, we're shooting part 3 of exercise and commitment. Now, the first 2 parts were mainly about commitment, and this part is going to be a little bit more about exercise itself. But the first 2 parts had to be about commitment because it's my opinion that commitment is the anchor from which you can achieve what you're setting out to do by doing exercise. So if you have goals of a particular fitness level, a particular weight loss that you will use exercise to achieve, then without a commitment, you will join the ranks of the people who start out with all the best intentions and fail at it. Essentially, you drop out. You let circumstances play a huge role. You get bumped off track, off purpose, and you start off, but you wind up within a few short weeks or a few months dropping out of exercise and wondering what happened, and you do this over and over again. It's because, in my opinion, there's a lack of commitment. So in parts 1 and part 2, we discussed commitment, and commitment being a promise, essentially. A promise to do something that you say you're going to do. So it's about keeping your word, and by the way, the hallmark of that, what you call that, is integrity. So it's about having integrity when it comes to exercise. If you happen to be finding this video first, I highly encourage you to check out parts 1 and 2 and see them first so that you can be grounded in the essentials of commitment, because as I said, without it, your exercise program is going to be lacking that ingredient that will allow you to be consistent and to get the results that you want and to continue when you usually would normally drop out. So part 3 really does stand alone. It can stand alone if you're not going to watch parts 1 and 2, because we're going to talk about how to create that exercise program that you are now committed to. And I'm talking about people who have not exercised in a long time. So I encounter so many patients whose last period of exercise, and these are people in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, their last period of exercise was back in high school or college. And it may be in high school that you had to, as a requirement, and didn't like it, or in high school or college you were a competitive athlete. And then after that, life gets in the way, so to speak. And you drop out from exercising and you find yourself out of shape. Well, if your last experience was exercise that you hated to do, or your last experience was sheer competition, you're probably going to default to that. So if you hated to do exercise, you're probably going to not like to do it now. And you're going to have some difficulty with that. Plus, you're going to go back to what you did before. And, probably back then it was, no pain, no gain. So you're going to overdo it and you're going to drop out. And if you were a competitive athlete, you're probably a little bit smarter about exercise, but you might just drop into that whole, foundation of competitiveness. So you might be competing with yourself, overdo it, and drop out. Exercise has to be a pleasant experience for you to remain consistent with it. So the first thing you have to do, of course, I believe I mentioned this in part 2, is you have to create your program. Once you got your commitment in line, you got to create your program. How often are you going to do exercise? And what type of exercise are you going to do? Are you going to do it at a gym? Are you going to do it at home? It really doesn't matter. It just depends on the fact that you have to figure out what you're going to do and then do it. You need to know how often during the week you're going to do it. And here's the thing. If you haven't exercised in a long time and you honestly say, okay, I'm out of shape, I'm way out of shape, you got to take baby steps. You got to take such little baby steps that it seems like you're not doing anything. Now, there's so many different ways of exercise. There's going to the gym, there's weights, there's running, there's high intensity interval training that's very popular right now. All of that is good. But you have to be brutally honest with yourself and ask yourself, what is going to work best for me? And then, of course, you may have some old injuries that limit your ability to exercise. You have to see what can, and I suggest asking yourself the question, what can I do rather than what I can't do? Of course, you have to assess what you can't do, but look at it in a positive way, because there's so many ways of exercising. There's plenty that you can do rather than what you can't. You can find substitutes for what you can't do if there's something you wanted and it probably isn't going to work best for your body. But let's take a look at exercise itself. Let's take a look at an example. One of the first things that I do when I exercise as part of my routine is I have an elliptical trainer. And I think that an elliptical trainer is the best all-around piece of equipment, the best all-around exercise that one can do, because it exercises the entire body, including the core in the middle. With an elliptical trainer, there's many different types. You can elevate the elliptical trainer, angle it down, up. You can, on all of them, change the resistance of the arms and the legs, sometimes separately. So you got some variety there about what you can do on it. Here's the thing. If you are way out of shape and you have not exercised in a long time, and we're going to use the elliptical trainer as an example, what you need to do is start out with baby steps. So I said that. Now this is what I'm talking about. You get on the elliptical trainer and you do it for 30 seconds. Now for some people 30 seconds is a lot. For some people it's kind of ridiculous. You're saying, well, that's a waste of my time. No, because if your program, say, is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and with programs, you know, if you're beginning, I'd say no more than 5 times a week. 3 is the minimum, and I wouldn't do 7. That may be too much. You need rest. Even if you're going to do 30 seconds, you need rest in between. Be kind to your body. It's out of shape, and it's going to protest. You don't want it to protest. So you want to take it under the threshold. Do exercise under the protest threshold. So, for example, we'll do 30 seconds, and you do 30 seconds on Monday, 30 seconds on Wednesday, 30 seconds on Friday, and you're done for the week. And then you make a decision either Friday or over the weekend or on Monday when you're going to do the exercise again. Am I going to stay at 30 seconds? Am I going to bump it up to 45? Am I going to do a minute? Also, time it. If with elliptical trainer you're able to time it, but if you're doing some other kind of exercise that doesn't have some built-in timer because it's not a piece of equipment, then you do need to time it. You don't want to just guess. You need to time it. Have a timer, have a clock, whatever it takes to time it. So you do your 30 seconds. And, you know, you may think, well, I didn't do anything. I don't feel different. It's like I did nothing. No, what you actually did was the most important part of it. And this is where we bring commitment in again, because what you did is you honored your word. You kept your commitment. You were consistent with what you said you were going to do. And if you think that that might not be of value, or that might not be of utmost importance, it is as important as the goal that you want to produce, such as weight loss or fitness, because without it, without the commitment, without the keeping your word and the consistency of exercising, you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to get from part A to part B. You're not going to get there. So getting there is by honoring the commitment. So what you've done is a very powerful thing. You've kept your word. You did your 30 seconds Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Now you move on. Do you stay with 30 seconds? Do you bump it up? Your choice. Just listen to your body, because what you want to accomplish when you're finished with exercising, even if it's 30 seconds, is you want to say, well, that felt good. Or, you know, that didn't even seem like anything, but that felt good. You don't want to say, wow, that was, I'm not looking forward to doing this again. Because if that's at play, if you do too much at once, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to look forward to coming back to the exercise, and eventually you will find reasons to put it off, put it off, put it off. There's another thing. Exercise, if you want to achieve your goals, has to be the #1 priority in your life. Now that might sound ridiculous, because if you have a family, if you have employment, of course that's the #1 responsibility in your life. Well, guess what? There can be a number of #1 responsibilities in your life. You just have to prioritize them. Personally, this is just what I do, and a lot of people think I'm a maniac. I'm up at 4 in the morning, and that's when I exercise, because I don't like to do it at the end of the day. And I like to start my day with it. It creates the person that I'm going to be, on point, and I'm a chiropractic physician doing physical work, so it makes sense for me to exercise first and prepare my body for what I'm going to do during the day. That doesn't mean that you have to do that, but for me, with my schedule, that's what works. And I've trained myself, literally trained myself to go to bed at an appropriate hour and get up at 4, and that's what I do. And I do that 5 times a week. On the weekends, I do a modified program, and I don't get up at 4, but I stay fairly close to it, probably get up at 5, 5:30, so I'm not that far off. That's just my personal way of doing it. So, do your exercise program. Take baby steps, because what's going to happen is, as you continue to up what you're doing in your exercise program, little by little, before you know it, in a matter of a few months, you're going to be doing perhaps more than you thought was possible. The important thing is you've allowed your body to acclimate to it. Very important if your body is out of shape. Otherwise, you could hurt yourself. And that will put your exercise program on hold, maybe forever. And you don't want that. And also, you want each time you do the exercise to be a pleasant experience, so you're looking forward to doing it again. Those are key elements on how to begin an exercise program when you're out of shape. So, if you're watching this video on YouTube or Facebook, I would love it if you would like the video, and I would also love it if you would comment on the video. Please let me know what you thought of the topic, what you thought of the presentation, even what you thought of me being outside for this one. The Second Opinion is a video series on fitness, chiropractic, wellness, exercise. I would love to hear if you have topics that you would like me to talk about, certain disease processes or sprains and strains. Those are all planned. I'm going to always be doing videos, and I would love to get your feedback on that. So I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you got a lot out of it. Also, tell other people, say, go see this video. This is very informative. And like I said, like my Facebook page and the YouTube videos like that. So again, I hope that you thoroughly enjoy this. I'm Dr. Steve Pearlstein, and this is Second Opinion.